Hari Om Padmaji.
Hari Om.
Today, let us learn and contemplate on nirmanamoha.
Yes.
Yeah. Please help us with chanting and meaning.
Nirmanamohajitasangadosa adhyatmanitya vinivrttakamah dvandvair vimuktah sukhaduhkhasamjnair gacchanty amudhah padam avyayam tat.
Once more.
Nirmanamohajitasangadosa adhyatmanitya vinivrttakamah dvandvair vimuktah sukhaduhkhasamjnair gacchanty amudhah padam avyayam tat. Those free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who are not bewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person to attain to that eternal kingdom.
Very nice. So Sri Krishna is saying the qualities of what qualities stop us from the eternal kingdom, from realizing the eternal kingdom. So what is the understanding? How do we connect it to our day-to-day life? Yes, Sarunalji.
So, yeah. So it is like that dropping the shell around so that the one that is inside and the outside become one, which are actually the one always. It is just the way I see it is just that there is a shell seems to be there, which is causing that separation. And like I think maybe I don't know if I can take the example of that space which is in the pot and outside the pot, which are always the same. It is just that like looks like there is a the shell, the layer of the pot that is separating, but it is the same way. The shell that I see here is all that thinking of who I am, which is like all these identities, right? I am so and so, I am not this, I am not that, I am this. That is only that thought only is the shell which is separating me from being the true me, I would say, right? And once that shell is dropped, which is all these false prestige and illusion and associations, then basically I become the I who was always that become like leave that layer.
Very nice. So one is false identities. What does Krishna mean by who understand the eternal, then who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, who are done with the material lust? So it's like a series of conditions he is laying out here.
Yeah. So the way last few days I was contemplating is the screen and the movie that is played on the screen. Okay. The one that is eternal is the screen. It doesn't change. It's just there as is. While the movie that is being played keeps on changing. Right? And the same way, me as the one seen with this body, I would say is like there is an eternal one that always exists, and which was not born, which so doesn't go away, and so and doesn't change, right? And only the one that is changing has all the insecurities and wants all the wants to go wants to go towards all the material things, because the true nature is that only. When the true nature is to expand, and that is when I don't understand that nature, which is like I am all pervading, or the Brahman is there everywhere. I try to expand by accumulating all the material things, right? So that's that is the reason for that material lust, which you can never accumulate everything outside, because that is changing all the time, right? But if you go deeper into why that thought came, because it is the true nature of yourself, which is all pervading. It cannot be, the Brahman cannot be limited to space and time, right? So that's how I see that eternal who are done with the material lust.
Wonderful, very nice. What about Padmaji? Shubhaji, yeah, go ahead, Shubhaji.
Yeah, it's more, we can connect with Jivanmukta topic. When we are, when we give up all our material self and connect with our spiritual self, we automatically we can automatically get rid of the dualities like happiness, sadness, pain, joy, death, life. All the dualities we can get rid of, and that is when we understand the real self. That is the understanding the eternal self. We give up all our material desires. That is when we realize our eternal self. In this case, the example given is the dirty water and the clean water. Our mind is like the dirty water. When if we want to clean that, we have to put more good things. Like when we pour clean water, automatically the dirty water also becomes clean. Same way, we have to find our spiritual self. Once we find that, then we are free from all these illusions.
So how do you connect, Shubhaji, to who understand the eternal? One of the condition or one of the criteria Krishna has given, and the last but not the least condition, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person.
Yeah, when we surrender onto the Supreme Person, which is nothing but our spiritual self, that can happen only when we are when we have no dualities in our when we get rid of, who are freed from dualities, when we are free of all the dualities. That is that will happen only when we surrender onto the Supreme Self, right?
So are you saying that only after I get rid of all the dualities I can surrender? And how is it even possible? How to get rid of the dualities?
Yeah, when we realize ourselves, automatically we are free from the dualities. Like we don't have, like the dualities are nothing but death, life, happiness, sadness, all that.
Correct. And how do you realize?
When I know my true self, I realize that.
Correct. And how do you come to know about your true self? What is the way you come to know about it in life? the track is correct.
Uh,
The next question, how did you come to know about it?
through a guru, right?
Ah. So who understand the eternal? To understand, it has to be heard in the first place.
Hmm.
So it starts from there. So it is like, there is a kind of a criteria before you can even.
Adhikari, yeah.
Ah.
So I should be ready, and then through guru, I realize this.
And then the surrender is natural. It is not something that you need to force upon yourself.
Hmm.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So what is that eternal kingdom that Krishna is referring here then?
The Supreme Self.
So by calling it as eternal kingdom, what do you think he means here?
Recognizing your self.
Yeah.
No other kingdom, it's only yourself.
And it is eternal.
Yeah.
Meaning it's never been lost.
Yeah. You need to recognize it, which is already there.
But why is that, Krishna is again talking about this in the 15th chapter? He gave us all this, cleaning the mind and everything earlier. Again, what is this chapter? This chapter is Purushottama Yoga. So he taught us that, you are that Atman, right in the second chapter. Here he is coming at it from the standpoint of Purushottama.
We need to keep reiterating.
Correct. But what is there a difference in the reiteration that he did in the second chapter? The truth that he helped us to realize in the second chapter, to the truth that he is help us realize here. Is there a distinction?
Yes, in second chapter, he talked about Atman, right? And here he's talking about Purushottama, that is Jnani, the realized one.
Purushottama, the Supreme Self.
In the second chapter, he also talks about Sthita Prajna. Yeah.
Okay, so let's listen to Padmaji.
Yeah, so I think I connect to what Shubhaji said as much as how I want to talk about this is from the picture itself, it is like whatever these qualities that we have to be free from, that is the thing that is coming from our mind. So that is why I think that mind which is currently there is reflected in that, depicted by that dirty water in the glass. And what we actually should get to is that clean water. So how do we go to that? How do we get rid of all this? Is by the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa, constant doing that. We clear ourselves, because then we slowly start because the guru is the one who teaches us that you are separate from all this. So when you get separated, that is when the water is becoming clean. It is not like suddenly one day the water cannot become clean. It is a process. It can happen only slowly. So by constant Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa is where that mind is getting purified. So when that happens slowly, he also talks about these same qualities is what, when you get rid of all this and when you can be free from the dualities of happiness is distress is what is reference being given to the Sthita Prajna. Like a Sthita Prajna is the one who will not be bewildered, whether it is happiness or sorrow. He's not affected by those things. So that is who he said that you are. But I think in 15th chapter, there is also a reference to him being something like that, and you are a part of him only. So it is actually bringing you closer to him, and that you are nothing but him only in many ways. I think that is the crux of this shloka. Like you are not separate from him, and he is a Uttama Purusha. So once you are able to be like a Sthita Prajna, there is nothing else for you to wonder. So the surrender will happen automatically. Like my question today, when there are, and you rightly said, there are a lot of mysteries happening every day, what can you expect? There is nothing to expect. So you will only be an observer, because there is nothing. You will do what is needed, and then you will just sit and observe what is happening. And you will not have any expectation also that this is what should happen or should not happen. I think that wisdom will come to you once you are like that.
Very nice. So let's look at what the fundamental questions of life. When you start looking at from the standpoint of someone who is ready to understand the fundamental questions of life, what are the fundamental questions that can come to us? One is, who am I? Yeah, Padmaji.
Sir, I wanted to, one thing came across when I was doing, just contemplating, like I thought about like, what is the reason that at this point and stage, we started studying this, or we even came into, I want to know how to change my life, or how I should be, which led to the beginning of the study of Gita or Vedanta or whatever our journey is now. So is it somewhere that we feel like, I don't know, after many lifetimes, but the clarity has come now that this is all enough for me. There is some, I don't know how to put it in words, but maybe some kind of saturation with whatever is there. Like, okay, again and again, it is just like, how much can I buy? How much can I enjoy? This is all enough for me. That has come within you, that you start looking somewhere more deeper. Is it there also?
Yeah. So let's look at both these together. So the question is, essentially you are raising, what is making us go deeper into this, and how is this becoming more and more valuable than other things in life? And you are right. At this point of time, how many people really spare time and study Bhagavad Gita? And what enables or what makes them do that activity over any other 100 other activities that are available in life? Somewhere, as a child, you grow out of your fondness for chocolate. In the beginning, you are hankering for chocolate, and somewhere you grow out of that hankering for chocolate, and you move on to something else, which is not called as a chocolate, but the fundamental aspect is, I want to possess it. That is still there, but it has shifted from one object to another object. It might have been chocolate in the beginning. A chocolate was, what a child would be hankering. And later the child shifts to hankering for maybe dress, maybe becoming number one in the class, or maybe gathering some knowledge and everybody clapping. So therefore, great masters say this beku, I want. So people come and ask a master, I don't know how to do japa. Nobody has initiated me into japa. But who taught you the Beku japa? Who taught you the I want japa? You are already born with the ability to do japa. Just that your attention of the japa is an object. I want that, I want that, I want this, I want this. You're shifting the I want from one object to another object. But the fundamental aspect is the hankering, that I want something. Why? Why am I saying I want something? Because when I have it, I feel for that moment fulfilled. As a child, I don't have chocolate is the thought in the mind. Constantly, I don't have, and without that, I'm less, I'm incomplete. Look, that person is having, and they show a TV ad. They have that ice cream and then, their face is bliss. So now I get into the idea that I also have it, my face is, So most often we mimic, we imitate. Or somebody is putting a lipstick and say, So we mimic. Or somebody is coming onto the stage and they're holding a trophy and then they're beaming with joy. We mimic. So we get into the idea that, with that only I can be like this. Because what is that I really want? I really want to be happy. Tell me one person in the world who wants to be sad. Nobody. All of us are happiness seeker, misery avoider. Okay, we are programmed to be happiness seeker, misery avoider. Every one of us. So what we do, we go behind the objects because that is what the world shows us. Then as you keep on doing that, at one point or the other, you realize, see, I thought I shifted from the chocolate to good grade, and good grade would give me good husband or good wife or good job and good money and good status. But I got all that, but still that hankering, somewhere I still am not satisfied. Then we see somebody who is just sitting there with nothing but a loincloth, but totally happy. Somebody who doesn't have money, possession, power, but still is quite peaceful. Like that story of the thief who went to rob the diamonds, which was above the tree of that jnani. And somewhere the question naturally came into him. He gave away the diamond. He must have something more by which is so satisfied. So when that naturally that comes, that is when you will want to understand the eternal. Because why? What are the fundamental questions? What are the fundamental questions here in this equation? There is a confusion, there is an illusion, there is a wrong understanding about who I am. Who I am is one of the wrong understanding. What is this world that I see out there? What is the fundamental model in the mind as a child, as I'm growing up, that the society teaches me? You are Padma, you are Saravanan, you are Shubha, you are Vijay, you are boy, you are girl, you are a Hindu, you are a Muslim. So the world has taught you about you through several nomenclatures. At times you are a teacher, at times you are a wife, you have to be a good wife, or who a good wife is, who a bad husband is, who a good Hindu is, who a bad Indian is, all 100 things. So I have become all of that. So that is one thing. I am, then I give hundreds of things. So that is a fundamental thing that I need to understand who I am really. Then I look at the world. The world is full of objects, so many mysterious things. I have no clue because I open my eyes and I see the world. And I know, I'm so small in hand, small. I hardly can pick up things. So I definitely did not make all these mountains. Somebody must have made this mountain because I see things being made. I take chapati and I make it and, somebody has made this. So there must be a cause for this world. So I naturally come up with who made this world question. oh, there is a person called God. So the fundamental equation is I, world, and God. So three things have got created in the mental model. I am, da 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 da, world is, da 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 da, God is, da 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 da. So three things which are distinct from each other have got created. So this is the fundamental cause of suffering. The fundamental cause of suffering is the separation between I, world, and God. The separation between I and the world. I am a Hindu, that person is somebody else, so there is a conflict. I am an Indian and he is a Pakistani, there's a conflict. I am good and she is bad, there's a conflict. I have wealth and that person is a thief, there's a conflict. So the world becomes a place from where I either derive pleasure or fear or sadness, because now I and the world are separate. I have to protect this. No, I have to protect this fellow. This fellow who is rich fellow, this fellow who is a very intelligent fellow. Each concept of I, is my own imprisonment or is my own fort that I have to guard. Very intelligent fellow. Oh, look at her, such an intelligent fellow. You know, I am an intelligent fellow walking. And somebody comes and says, stupid, don't you know that much? There is so much of fear and worry and sadness now, because how can this intelligent fellow be stupid? How do I protect this now? Either I retaliate. No, I'm not stupid. You don't know. All that fighting starts. Or, oh, I don't know this. Let me learn this. So like that very fort that I want to guard, I am intelligent, makes me do things in the world. So the very fact that I am my lifestyle, I have to guard this lifestyle. This is what my lifestyle is. This is how I should be living. Makes me do things and makes me go beyond earning. This much is really necessary. All that are coming from what? From the prison I have created within my mind, called, you know who I am, you know what I am, you know how I should be. So this is the false prestige. So ego is not the problem. So there is an ego called a mother, it's not a problem. There's an ego called a teacher, is not a problem. There's an ego called student, is not a problem. It's a functional ego. Right now, the object that all of you are sitting on is called a chair. That's the ego. That object is useful as a chair. If the object that you're sitting on was a tree, right now you may not be sitting on it. So that functional ego called a chair made you use it. You make use of it. So like that, there is a functional part to your existence, which is the ego, with which you play various roles. Mother role, father role, brother role, sister role, wife role, whatever may be the role. But there is a false prestige, an association. I derive pleasure from that role. So that false prestige, the ahankara is not a problem. The pride of the ahankara. You know how intelligent I am. You know how a great wife I am. You know how a wealthy husband I am. So this is the false prestige. So how is it all coming? Because of the illusion and the false association. The changing, that the whole thing is changing, and I'm getting associated with it again and again. And why is it that happening? Because of the incorrect understanding. Because I see the world through the eyes and the ears and all these five senses, which are constantly giving me some feedback about the world, and I'm interpreting the sensations, and I am coming to certain conclusions. And this is the wrong understanding that the Guru breaks by opening the inner eye through what? Through the right viveka. What is that? Satya asatya viveka, nitya anitya viveka. So he brings clarity to the phenomena that is happening in the mind. He helps me break away from the phenomena of the mind and realize something that is noticing. So this is one aspect of becoming clear about who I am. Then of course the world is still there, and the maker of the world is still there. It still can be a cause of suffering. So now Sri Krishna is helping us to realize who the God is and what is my connection with this entity called God. So in the beginning, it's really about clearing the doubts about me. The false I is removed in the beginning. Now he has started integrating me with the world and God. So that's why the Bhagavad Gita can be seen as, the 18 chapters can be seen as Tat Tvam Asi. The first 6, if you see it in that sense, 666. So Tvam Padartha. Tvam Padartha is who I am. Next is Tat, the Supreme Self. Then Asi, integration. There is a wrong model of understanding. There's a wrong model in the mind about I, world, and God. And that wrong model has to be corrected, not only at I level, but also at the world level, also at the God level. Because they are not different. They are the same. The world is not separate from me. I am not a separate observer. Because the moment I have even an observer consciousness, observer is separate from the world. I and the world are actually not separate. The observer, the Sakshi Bhava, is brought in the beginning to reduce the stress caused by various impressions coming and I getting connected deeply with the impressions. So initially, Sakshi Bhava is a sadhana. Sakshi Bhava is to free the mind from the clutches of the dualities. Constantly impressions are coming. So through Sakshi Bhava, you simply notice. Because see, the world is nothing but a changing phenomena. Day comes, it changes into night. Night goes, it changes into day. Just notice. So Sakshi Bhava helps to become free from the change. Now, Krishna is bringing us to the next level. The change and the one who is noticing the change are not two. It is not as if there is me who is seeing something else. The something else is not separate from me. Only when I have that complete integration, like what Prabhuji says, the beginning of the journey is realization of Tattvatamasi. But the completeness is Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. So both are important. So there is a wrong understanding at who I am level. There's a wrong understanding about the world level. There's a wrong understanding at the God level. So first, the understanding has to be corrected. Then they have to be integrated. There is no separate self. there is no other.
It's like in movies, same actor can play 10 roles. So it appears in 10 roles, but behind it's the same person who's like that. The
Correct.
same Brahman appearing in all different forms.
But it is deep ingrained habitual patterns that doesn't help us to realize this. The clarity that I am a unchanging consciousness at one level is okay to accept, but this world is also me and that God is also me are another level, especially in the mind where the God concept has gone deeply. I as God, what is that? Is extremely challenging. So the Supreme Self still appears to be separate from me. The Supreme Self is somebody other than me. This is the grand next illusion. So slowly, the salt doll is a symbol of all the wrong understanding. And the salt doll is asking, what is the ocean? So the Guru is saying, come into the ocean, I will teach you. As the salt doll comes into the ocean, eventually there is no salt doll. So at that level, somebody, for the sake of understanding, from the GV standpoint, standing on the shore says, oh, salt doll has merged now into the ocean. But for the salt doll, no more there is ocean, me. It has become one with the water. So this is the removal of the ignorance through Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa. But Shravana, for it to have that impact, the mind has to be ready. Because the mind is constantly hankering behind the objects of the world. I want that. Only when I get it, I will be happy. So therefore, seva is prescribed as a beginning step. Seva is do your work without attachment to the fruits of the action. Do your work without the ownership attitude. So the attitude of kartru, I am the kartru, I am doing it. The attitude of I am the bhokta, I have to enjoy. These two are the fundamental clutches in the mind, stopping us from realizing the truth that the Sadguru gives. So first, therefore, the Sadguru therefore gives the first pill, which is Sadguru Seva Satsanga. So clean your impressions, because there are strong habitual patterns that stop us from. The Guru has been saying the same thing again and again. The Guru has never changed what he has said. Guru has simply said, you are that only. Just realize who you are. In 100 different ways, Guru has been saying the same thing.
It's because on one side, the society is feeding the wrong info. And if there are millions of those who are feeding the wrong info, and if there is one side Guru is feeding, then the Guru has to feed it million times to be able to get over it. Right?
Yeah, because the mind is an instrument of habituation. Vritti. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. So therefore Patanjali Maharshi gives, what is yoga? See, all the 18 chapters have a yoga at the end. Purusha Uttama Yoga. So yoga means union. Union means there must be at least two. So how come there are two? There are two because of a grand illusion. And only when that grand illusion is removed, that two is removed, it is yoga. And how do you remove yoga? How do you come into yoga? Only by right jnana. But for right jnana, you have to be able to listen and assimilate that. But if the mind is constantly running behind things of the world and constantly having questions, then that mind has not settled enough. So to settle the mind, Sadhguru first begins with first operation called seva.
It's like when somebody wants, what is important is what do you want? And if I want this and that, okay, then you will keep getting this and that. But then only when that person realizes, why am I asking for this and that? I want you who's giving all this. Then you are the question becomes right. Until then, like
exactly, that question has to be a deep and honest and a very genuine question. And for that genuinity to come, your mind has to be free from so many impressions. And how do you clean the impressions? What is an impression? Impression is happening because of only two things: kartrutva, bhoktatva. I am the doer and I am the enjoyer. This is what is leaving the impression.
There, I feel, Vijayji, what I see is, so this ego part, due to ignorance, right, wants to hang on to it, hold on to that self, even if it is suffering a lot, but then like doesn't want to disappear, lose. So, right, one may be suffering a lot, but still wants to hold on to it because, like, you know what, I want to be there. I want. It is just that ignorance that I is the wrong one, and that's where the correction can happen only in the intellect. To say that, okay, you are trying to hang on to the wrong one, right? And like once it realizes and releases it, then the salt all gets into the ocean. Otherwise, like it's like, okay, should I put it? If I put it, like I will disappear. All that I loaded so many things, everything will disappear. Though it knows that even if you don't leave it, you have no control over it.
And that brings us to the final statement, the surrender. There's this beautiful story all of you would know. In the darkness of the night, somebody fell and into a hole. And as he was falling, it was a cliff. From the edge of the cliff, he fell and he thought he's going to die. And suddenly his hand caught hold of something and he was for the time being relieved. But the fear, there is still a lot of depth is there. So now he called Krishna, Narayana, Jesus. I don't know what he called, but he called, please help me. I'm going to fall. I'm going to die. Please help me. And there was a peaceful divine voice, let go. This fellow said, okay, hey, I cannot let go. If I let go, I will fall. I will continue to pray to God. God, please help me. So he continued to pray. And when the dawn happened, you could see that, he was just feet away from the ground. If you just let go, you would have been quite safe. So this is the situation of life. Even when we are letting go, there are conditional letting go. God, will I be all right? Okay, I am listening to Guru. Guru says surrender. But okay, what should I surrender? I'll keep only this much for myself. So the ultimate surrender is like that child. There is this child who is on the who's on a wall, and the father says, "Come, I'll catch you." And the child has complete trust, faith in the father, and 100% without any doubt just jumps.
Yes.
And that ultimate surrender, that
We are born with that, but then like we completely like with time it's lost.
that there is this usually this quotation in the Baba's words. What happened was great. What is happening is great. What will happen will be great. Why are you sad? Why are you worried? What are you afraid of?
Yeah, afraid of, because seeing all the things in the world and saying, oh, this will happen, that will happen. Right. And then the society says, you have to do this, you have to do that. Why are you not doing this?
Correct. There's nothing wrong in doing anything. That do whatever, but do with complete relaxation inside. So the nature of activity may not change, but the attitude of the activity is a fundamental shift.
Yes.
You may
the
continue to
attitude.
be a mother, continue to be a father, continue to be a boss, continue to be. The nature of activity may not have to change. For quite some time, Prabhuji continued to work as, in the IT department. Only later, he felt, he has to dedicate more and more time. So now also there is 100 other activities, a lot more busier than when he was in the IT company.
Yeah.
So you will never be free from activities in life.
Yeah. Who is free from act? Who is doing it?
So when that I am the kartru is there, then you will continue to suffer. So to remove that, seva is important. Seva is what? It doesn't matter who benefits. I have no expectations. May this benefit all others. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. In that statement, there is no I. May I benefit.
May my work
goes.
benefit.
May the whole world be happy, healthy, peaceful. Because you and the world are not two. The very fact that, I am praying itself is an ego position. I am praying for your well-being is an ego position.
Yeah. The more one uses I, it's just that I identity is getting strengthened only. Yeah.
All right. So, right about Padmaji, you have a question. The difference in what he says in chapter 2 and 15. Not sure what you mean, Padmaji. Can you elaborate?
No. When you were explaining, in between, I put that.
Okay.
Like you were explaining, like about the oneness, and like you are not the one. You and the Supreme are not separate, right? So I was asking you whether you asked first, right? That what is the difference, like what he said in chapter 2 and chapter 15. So I was asking you, is this
the difference?
Yeah.
This is now he's talking
the
about
last 6 chapters are like the, so Krishna has opened, like a surgeon, no, he opened everything. All the parts of the body are outside. Now he's putting them all and then suturing.
Yeah. I think the chapters are also very beautifully arranged like that, right? Because first when I did Bhakti Yoga, I think I was assigned that for that Gita Jayanti. That time I was only doing bhakti yoga, so I thought, okay, this is chapter 12, so this is the highest, maybe that's why it's coming later. Then when I started doing this Purushottama yoga, then I thought, okay, it's still not the end.
In one sense, the whole of Bhagavad Gita is nothing but jnana.
Yeah,
The whole of Bhagavad Gita is nothing but jnana.
yeah,
And in that jnana, he integrates everything. Because ultimately, nahi jnanena sadrisham. Because the only way you can realize is through the jnana. So bhakti leads to jnana. Not a I know kind of a ego position based jnana. The aparoksha anubhuti based jnana. All right. Is there anything else anybody wants to say or ask? Okay, then we'll end the contemplation.